Hello students, I am Sanjana Kapatagi, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, AITM, Belgavi. Let us continue with the video lectures on computer organization. In this video series, I will be discussing about module number 3, that is the memory system. So in this video, let us see some of the basic concepts. So as we all know that the program and the data that the programs operate on both are stored in the memory of the computer system. So in this entire video series, we will discuss how this vital part of the computer operates. The vital part of computer is nothing but the memory, how it operates. So as we all know that the execution speed of the program is highly dependent on the speed with which the instructions as well as the data can be transferred between the processor and the memory. As we all know that in order to execute any program, the program has to be stored into the memory and then it will be brought into the main memory, okay, from secondary memory to main memory, and then it will be executed, and there are some exchanges of data happening between the processor and the memory. What data the program requires will be fetched from the memory, and the speed of execution depends on how fast this data is retrieved from the memory. So it is also important to have a large memory to facilitate the execution of programs that are large enough, and we can deal with the huge amount of data. It is not that the memory means it is of some random size. No, we should have a larger memory which can facilitate the execution of large programs which will process the huge amount of data. Okay, so ideally the memory would be fast, large, and it also has to be inexpensive. Unfortunately, it is impossible to meet all these three requirements simultaneously. Increased speed as well as size can be achieved, but with a increased cost. Okay, so to solve this problem, much of the work is being done in developing some clever structures that improve the apparent speed and size of the memory, okay, and keeping the cost some reasonable rate. Okay, so first we shall describe the most common components and organizations that are used to implement the memory, and then we shall examine some of the memory speed, and discuss how apparent speed of the memory can be increased by means of the cache. Okay, and after that there are some concepts which will present the virtual memory. Okay, and this virtual memory, it increases the total size of the memory. How it will happen, we shall study in detail. And at last there are some secondary storage devices which provide larger storage capability. We are going to study these also. Now let us study some basic concepts. As we all know that the maximum size of the memory that can be used in any of the computer will be determined by the addressing scheme used for that particular computer. For example, a 16-bit computer, okay, if the computer is of 16 bits, it generates 16-bit addresses. Okay, so and this will be capable of addressing 2 raised to 16. Okay, that is equal to 64k memory locations. Now you will say, no, 32-bit machines and 64-bit machines, what is that 32-bit and what is that 64-bit? It is nothing but the address of that particular addressing scheme used in that particular scheme. So addresses will be of 32-bit, 64-bit respectively. Okay, so based on that you will say whether it is a 32-bit machine or 64-bit machine. For example, if your machine is of 32 bits, then 2 raised to 32, how many addresses will be generated? That much will be the memory size. Okay, here we are considering 16-bit computer. So 16 means 2 raised to 16, which will be equal to 64k memory locations. Okay, these many memory locations will be present in that computer. Okay, similarly, machines whose instructions will generate 32-bit address, it can utilize memory that contains up to 2 raised to 32. Okay, which is equal to almost 4 GB. Okay, 4G, or you can say giga memory locations. Okay. uh, and if the machine is a 40-bit address, it can address up to 2 raised to 40, which is equal to 1T locations, that is 1 tera locations. Okay, numbers 1 2 3 4, that many 1 tera locations it can address. Okay, so the number of locations will represent the size of the address space of that particular computer. Now the most modern computers will be byte addressable. Okay, so there is a figure you have seen previously which shows all possible address assignments for a byte addressable computer, which is of 32 bits. Okay, so we have also studied big endian arrangement, which used 68,000, which was used in 68,000 processor. Okay, so a little endian arrangement is also used in Intel processor. Okay, so that depends on what type of addressing is used, that address scheme will be applied. Okay, so the ARM architecture also can be configured to use this any of the arrangements. So as far as the memory structure will be concerned, there is no substantial difference between the two schemes. Okay, whether it is a big endian or little endian. The memory will be usually designed to store and retrieve the data in word length quantities. Okay, we have seen in module 1 also, whenever we are writing any instruction, we used to call the length of an instruction in terms of words, whether it is one word, two word, or three word. Okay, so in fact the number of bits that are actually stored or retrieved in one memory access is the most common definition of the word length of a computer. Now as we said, we measure in terms of word length. What will be the length of the word? So it is nothing but the number of bits that are actually fetched when you are storing something into the computer. Those many bits will be stored at a time. Whenever you are retrieving something from the memory, those many bits will be retrieved from the memory in one axis, one memory axis. So if you are trying to fetch one data, how many bits will be extracted in one single time will be the number of bits. Okay, that constitute a word. Okay, that is length of the word in a computer. Let us take up one example to understand this. Let us consider a byte addressable computer whose instructions will generate a 32-bit address. Okay, so when a 32-bit address is sent from the processor to the memory, the higher order 30 bits will determine which word will be accessed. Okay, so if a byte quantity is specified, then lower order 2 bits of the address will specify which byte location is involved. Okay, so this is how it works. In a read operation, other bytes may be fetched from the memory, but they will be ignored by the processor. So if the byte operation will be right, then the control circuitry of the memory, it should ensure that the contents of the other bytes of the same word are not changed. It should maintain the integrity of the data that is there in the, that is being processed, you can say. Okay. The modern implementation of memory in the computers or modern computers, it is rather a complex and difficult to understand at the first sight. Okay, so in order to understand these concepts, first let us study some of the memory structures which were used in traditional architectures, and as and when we move further, we shall study some latest or modern approaches. Okay, from the system point of view, we can view the memory unit as a black box. Okay, so now I'm discussing some traditional architecture. Okay, so from the system point of view, it is just a it is looked at as a black box. Okay, so the data transfer between the memory and the processor takes place through the use of two processor registers. This we have already studied in the first module, that is memory address register and memory data register. These are the two registers that is used in the data transfer between the processor and the memory. Okay, so if MAR is k bits long and MDR is n bits long, then the memory unit, it can contain up to 2 raised to k addressable locations. I hope you're getting. Okay. MAR, that is memory address register, if it is of k bits long, and MDR, that is memory data register, if it is n bits long, then the memory unit, it will contain up to 2 raised to k, that is, if suppose MAR is of 8 bits, then 2 raised to k, 2 raised to 8 addressable locations will be generated. Okay. So during a memory cycle, n bits of data are transferred between the memory and the processor. MDR, that particular register is of how many bits? Those many bits will be transferred in one data transfer. Okay. So this transfer takes place over the processor bus, which has k address lines and n data lines. K is because MAR is of k bits, and it also has n data lines, that is because data register has n bits. Okay. So the bus also, it also includes the control lines like read or write. Okay. R bar slash R slash W bar. Okay. And the memory function completed, that is MFC, memory function completed, for coordinating the data transfers between the memory and the processor. And other control lines can be added to indicate the number of bytes to be transferred. Okay, this we can see in the figure 5.1. Okay, you can see in the figure we have processor and memory. In processor we have two registers, one is MAR, the other one is MDR. Okay, so MAR is of k bits, k bit size, so it will generate k bit addresses. Okay, so which is passed through the address bus. Next, MDR, it has 10 bits length, so the data transfer will be taking place in terms of n bits. Okay, you can see the arrow mark from MAR to memory is unidirectional. Okay, that is from MAR to memory. But in case of MDR, it is two-way. That means data transfer can happen between processor to memory or memory to processor. Okay, so whereas in case of MAR, it can only fetch the address from the MAR. So that is why it is unidirectional. Next we have control lines, that is for read, write or memory function complete. For that again it is two-way because data transfer can happen between processor to memory or memory to processor. Okay, so this processor reads the data from the memory by loading the address of the required memory location into MAR register and then setting the control signal, that is R slash W bar line to 1. Then the memory responds by placing the data from the address to location onto the data line, and then this confirms the action by asserting an MFC signal saying that it has completed its memory function. So upon receiving that MFC signal, the processor loads the data on the data lines into the MDR registers. Data will always go to MDR register. The processor writes the data into the memory location by loading the address of this location into MAR and then loading the data into MDR. And then it indicates that a write operation needs to be involved. How it will indicate is it will set the signal, control signal, that is R by R bar, R slash W bar equal to 0. That control line will be set to 0. Okay, which indicates it is a write operation. If read or write operations are involved in the consecutive address locations in the main memory, then it is called as a block transfer operation. So this can be performed in which only one address sent to the memory is the one that identifies the first location. Okay, so this type of block transfer we shall study in detail in further concepts. Okay, this is some basic idea about memory. We shall study some more basic concepts in the next video. Thank you for watching.